The war in West Asia is now triggering serious concerns about a possible LPG supply crunch in India. Across the country, the ripple effects are already being felt. Restaurants are cutting menu items. Some hotels in Chennai have shut operations for the day. And even the Delhi's High Court lawyers' canteen has stopped serving full meals due to shortage of gas cylinders. The situation is serious enough that the IRCTC has asked catering units across railway stations to prepare contingency plans in case commercial LPG supplies are disrupted. In Uttarakhand, the state government is even preparing to supply firewood to businesses if the gas shortage worsens. Industry bodies are warning that hotels and restaurants which rely heavily on daily LPG supplies could be forced to shut down if the crisis continues. The opposition has launched a sharp attack on the centre, claiming thousands of hotels and industries are already being hit and warning that as many as 1 crore jobs could be at risk if the situation escalates.
इस वक्त देश बहुत गंभीर संकट से गुजर रहा है। पूरे देश में एलपीजी गैस जिसे हम बोलते हैं, जो घरों में खाना बनाने के भी काम आती है, रेस्टोरेंट में, इंडस्ट्री में, तरह तरह से लोग इसका इस्तेमाल करते हैं एलपीजी सिलेंडर का, गैस का। इसकी देश में भारी किल्लत हो गई है और उसका कारण है कि पूरे देश में जितनी डेली प्रोडक्शन होती है उसकी 50% प्रोडक्शन कम हो रही है, 50% प्रोडक्शन कम हो रही है।
But the government insists there is no cause for panic. Government says steps have been taken to enhance LPG production and prioritize domestic consumers. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, speaking at a rally in Kerala, also hit out at the Congress, accusing the party of making provocative and irresponsible statements during a global crisis.
कांग्रेस और लेफ्ट ने मिलकर सरकारें चलाई है। इन्होंने देश को विदेशों पर ज्यादा से ज्यादा निर्भर बनाया है और आज देखिए ये लोग मिलकर अफवाहें फैलाने में जुटे हैं। आज युद्ध के समय, इस समय में भी कांग्रेस लेफ्ट और उसका इकोसिस्टम देश में पैनिक क्रिएट करने में, भय पैदा करने में पूरी ताकत खपा रहे हैं। मैं देशवासियों को कहूंगा, कांग्रेस, लेफ्ट और इनके इकोसिस्टम द्वारा फैलाई जा रही अफवाहों से सतर्क रहे, सावधान रहे।
Meanwhile, hospitality associations say the shortage of commercial cylinders is already affecting business operations.
20% होटल्स बंद हो चुका है और आज सवेरे से भी हमें काफ़ी मुंबई के हर एक कॉर्नर से फ़ोन आ रहा है कि काफ़ी होटल्स बंद हो चुकी और यही हाल रहा तो थोड़े दिनों में, ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा 2 दिनों में 90% मेजॉरिटी ऑफ आवर होटल्स विल हैव टू बी फोर्सिबली शट डाउन, विल हैव टू बी फोर्सिबली क्लोज्ड।
मेरी हाथ जोड़ के सब कस्टमर से, सब उपभोक्ताओं से ये दरख्वास्त है कि प्लीज़ आप पैनिक मत होइए। 1 महीना बड़ा टाइम होता है, 1 महीने में ज़रूर कुछ ना कुछ सोल्यूशन निकल आएगा। हमें आशावादी होना चाहिए और 1 महीने के अंदर पोजीशन इम्प्रूव होने के चांसेस ज़्यादा दिख रहे हैं ख़राब होने से। तो प्लीज़ पैनिक बुकिंग मत कीजिए।
And for ordinary consumer, the concern is simple. If the crisis deepens, cooking gas availability and the food prices could both be affected.
अगर और एक दिन अगर हमारे को सिलेंडर नहीं मिलेगा तो बिजनेस बंद कर देना पड़ता। बिजनेस बंद होगा तो हमारे साथ हमारे कई लोग हैं जिसके घर चलते, वो सब बहुत ज़्यादा परेशान हो जाएंगे। तो हमारी रिक्वेस्ट है सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट के से कि भाई प्रोवाइड करिए हमको सिलेंडर्स, आप जैसा भी हो सकता।
The government organized a multi-ministerial press conference in Delhi where the joint secretaries from Ministry of External Affairs, Information and Broadcasting and ministries directly dealing with energy and the senior officers were present. Let's listen in.
As a temporary demand management measure, the minimum gap between LPG booking has been increased from 21 days to 25 days. At field level, OMC officers and anti-adulteration cell are coordinating enforcement to clear distributor backlog and ensure smooth delivery. अंत में मैं ये कहना चाहूँगी कि ये एक वैश्विक चुनौतीपूर्ण स्थिति है, लेकिन भारत की ईंधन आपूर्ति नियंत्रण में है। सरकार स्थिति पर लगातार नजर रख रही है और घरों और प्राथमिकता वाले क्षेत्रों की सुरक्षा के लिए आवश्यक कदम उठा रही है। हम नागरिकों से आग्रह करते हैं कि वे घबराकर बुकिंग करने से बचें, अधिकारियों के साथ सहयोग करें और वैश्विक अनिश्चितता की इस अवधि के दौरान जहां संभव हो ईंधन का संरक्षण करें।
So the question is, do we have a crisis or shortage as a result of panic in the market? That's one. And will the war eventually take its toll, or the government be able to find solutions before war completely chokes the supply? These are two issues I have. On this issue, I am joined by Brijesh Pandey, editor Input News 9, Sharat Trivedi, spokesperson Bharatiya Janata Party, Piyush Joshi, spokesperson Aam Aadmi Party, and Dr. Pooja Tripathi, spokesperson Congress. Let me straight away go to Mr. Sharat Trivedi, spokesperson Bharatiya Janata Party. Sir, my question remains simple. Is it panic, or are we really having a sort of a ripple effect across the board?
Well, this is an unprecedented situation because of the crisis in the Strait of Hormuz. The supplies are not coming at all. And the major countries which have been supplying, like Qatar, have been hit badly. So the source of supply has virtually stopped. So we are only dependent on our local supplies and the stocks that we have. We are trying to secure supplies from Australia, from Russia, and any other country which is capable of supplying our kind of at our price and the volume that we need. But at present, we cannot, the supplies that we already have, we have to ration it. So the first priority is the private gas consumers, the domestic consumers. The second priority is the fertilizer industries, where we have only also reduced in the fertilizer market about 30%. The third priority is the big industries which are into heavy employment, and finally the commercial. So commercial is really getting a hit on at the moment, but we are trying to manage the situation. Panic is the real reason why the scarcity is there. You would remember a couple of years back, there was sudden, panic was created by a rumor that came out that there was a shortage of salt in the country. And people just went and packed out kgs of salt from the market, and the government and the Tata salt companies that put up massive ads on newspaper that there is no shortage at all. It is because of the sentiment, because of the panic buying, that this artificial shortage is being created. For the moment, there is no shortage. But we are trying to ration the supplies that we already have so that nobody has, at least the domestic consumers do not face any crisis.
Okay. Pooja, Prime Minister in the rally said that the Congress and the left ecosystem is doing scaremongering. Are you guys doing scaremongering?
And what is Prime Minister doing, Kartikeya? When a country is facing as an unprecedented crisis, when country needs answer, when a country needs a responsible and accountable government, where is Hardeep Puri? Is he still talking about his Epstein files and making crude remarks on it? Where are the ministers responsible for assuring the country that no need to panic and no need to hoard, and Essential Commodities Act has just been applied as a contingency measure? Why are restaurants shutting at 50% capacity? Why many restaurants have put up notices that only tea and coffee would be served? A mortuary in Pune, mortuary in Bihar has shut its operation because they don't have an LPG supply. And Prime Minister still has the time. This is always a time for politics, and Prime Minister does that only. He doesn't govern the country. And Prime Minister is still headed in a political rally, is still taking pot shots as political party. That shows their, seriousness of the government. When Chinese vessels, when Russian vessels can pass through Hormuz, what is our bilateral agreement that our ships are stuck? Our dependency has increased by 14% and our production has decreased by 26%. And that's where we are asking, it's whose responsibility is it? You cannot, accuse opposition. You cannot accuse Nehru for the first time. Whose responsibility it is to assure the country, to assure the nation that things are okay? You can plant any number of sources. You have this off-record meetings, and I hear Hardeep Puri ji is having off-record meetings with media spokesperson, everyday sports. 2 days back, it was we have 40 days of reserves, no need to panic. Then they increase the LPG prices.
Okay.
Yesterday it was, we have 26 days of. Which minister will has come and recorded and taken a press conference and assured the nation? I think Prime Minister should take a Mann Ki Baat. I go to Lal Bahadur Shastri Kartikeya when the war was going on and he was the Prime Minister.
The government did a press conference today.
Second to respond. Just 5 seconds more. He went on to say कि मैंने आज देश के नाम के प्रधानमंत्री किस तरीके की बातें थी, मैंने आज से रात का खाना बंद कर दिया और आप सबसे ये आग्रह करूंगा कि रात का खाना बंद करके देश सेवा के लिए वो करें. And here is प्रधानमंत्री taking political rallies, taking political potshots. When will we have a prime minister who will rise to the occasion and assure people that there's nothing to worry? And we don't need resources, we don't need media briefings, we need a prime minister, we need a minister responsible to tell us, to come to the media and tell us that this is happening and these are our results, our contingency.
Piyush Joshi, your boss did a press conference, after a long time on a national issue.
Well, indeed. And whatever he spoke was bang on correct. Let me tell you why. I'm reminded of an old song of Manoj Kumarji. We used to popularly call him as Bharat Kumar. पहले तो व्यापार की तंगाई मार गई, ऊपर से एलपीजी की महंगाई मार गई, बाकी कुछ बचा तो शॉर्ट सप्लाई मार गई. With due diligence and full sincerity, I'm telling you on the through your program that this is the Prime Minister's sponsored inflation bomb and Prime Minister sponsored LPG's cut down in supply, which has been unleashed on people of India.
How is it Prime Minister sponsored?
Let me tell you how it is Prime Minister sponsored. The Prime Minister has sided completely and totally with the United States of America, with Israel. Let me tell you how. What was the need to hug the Israeli premier just a day before the war began? And you cannot say that your intelligence is so incompetent that you were not aware what is going to happen a day after or 48 hours thereafter. So that is a tremendous intelligence failure that itself prohibits you from serving the country in the capacity of chief executive officer if your intelligence agencies were not able to tell you that. The Prime Minister did not utter a single sentence about Khamenei's demise. A supreme leader of a country which has been popularly accepted by the people of that country has been bombed and is one of the first casualties. How can a country like United States of America or Israel go ahead and kill the leader of another sovereign nation?
Our debate is on LPG, not on the foreign policy. I respect your views, you can have your views. I have no issues, but the debate is on LPG. Is government doing a good job or not?
So what is responsible? What is responsible for that LPG crisis? Should we talk about that or not? Because I started by saying it is the Prime Minister's sponsored shortage of supply. And you asked me a question, why? So I'm telling you why. Because Iran has control over the Strait of Hormuz. We all know about the data. We can disagree upon finer details that whether it's 50% or whether it is 60% of total natural gas which comes from Strait of Hormuz or 90%. We can disagree upon that. But the fact of the matter remains that China and Russia have an uninhibited access to that strait. And why do they have? Because they have sided with Iran, and Iran has been historically our friend. So we need not side with Iran. At least 2 words of condolences. Iran's naval vessel was shot down.
There are a couple of things. Even if the Prime Minister wouldn't have gone to Israel, I don't think our supply from Qatar would have taken place because except one Chinese vessel, I don't think any other vessel has been able to make out safely from Strait of Hormuz. Brijesh,
I agree with you, sir.
Brijesh, you tell me. Wait a minute. Brijesh, you tell me. The shortage, the sort of news which we are getting, the ground report from Jaipur, Pune, Tamil Nadu, Bangalore, they are very, very LPG centric. They are not CNG centric. They are not even oil centric. They are very, very LPG centric. Do you think is it the panic button that is being done, or we are actually facing a slow heat and people naturally are trying to hoard stuff, something which we witnessed during pandemic, and then the government had to intervene and say that everything would be available?
Well, I think it's a mix of both. Primarily because of panic, there was a visual which came out, which was from Basti, Uttar Pradesh, where, people actually ransacked the LPG godown and, ran away with LPG cylinders. So there was a clear panic case. It was not like as if, there's a immediate shortage, as if, from tomorrow you are not going to get domestic cylinders, which triggers an all-out panic and all. But it is also not like that, the government is saying that there is no problem whatsoever. because all of these hotel associations, all of these, joints, whose livelihood depends on LPG cylinders, I don't think that they would be creating this artificial scarcity and, get a hit on their business just to drive home a point. So I think it's a mix of both, and I would, I kind of agree with what the Congress spokesperson was saying, that yes, a minister should come forward, and I think what happened today in the evening at around 5:15.
Are you saying that the bureaucrats have not sufficed?
See, people don't elect bureaucrats. Bureaucrats are too mechanical in their response. And I'm not saying it is the BJP government or the Congress government, but bureaucrats are too mechanical in their response. They are not elected by the people. If say, for example, what Lal Bahadur Shastri said, or like when we launched an Operation Sindoor attack, what Prime Minister says matters a lot more than what a Defence Secretary would say. So I think, the minister should come forward, and there should be a daily briefing to at least quell the panic part.